The Companion Planet. Captain's Log, Stardate 54321.6. The USS Firebird has arrived at Kennesaw V to investigate the disappearance of a Starfleet survey team. Initial reports describe the planet as having undergone an unusual evolutionary path where Earth animals, particularly dogs and cats, have become the dominant, intelligent species. Captain Madeline Pavlovic closed her log entry and turned to her first officer. "What do sensors tell us, Commander?" Rebecca Parker looked up from her console. "Thriving civilization, Captain. Multiple species readings, predominantly canine and feline. Human life signs detected in clusters around the settlements. And the survey team?" Pavlovic asked. "Difficult to isolate specific human biosignatures," replied Chief Engineer Alverio over the comm. "There's some kind of interference pattern affecting our sensors." Communications Officer Craig Miles swiveled in his chair. "Captain, I'm analyzing their transmission patterns. They have technology comparable to mid-23rd century Federation standards, so they could have detected our arrival." Pavlovic mused. Dr. Alba approached with a datapad. "Captain, I've reviewed the survey team's last report. They referred to this as a role reversal planet where humans appear to be kept as pets." "Pets?" Navigator Ludwig echoed, disbelief evident in her voice. Pavlovic exchanged glances with Parker. "Well, we won't get answers orbiting up here. Commander Parker, Dr. Alba, you'll accompany me to the surface. Standard away team protocols." "Captain," Security Chief Marsden protested, "regulations recommend a security detail for unknown planetary conditions." "Noted, Mr. Marsden," Pavlovic replied, "but a smaller team will be less threatening for first contact. Mr. Wolfgang, you have the con. Standard check-ins every hour." "Hey, Captain," Helmsman Wolfgang acknowledged, sliding into the command chair. 20 minutes later, Pavlovich, Parker, and Dr. Alba materialized in a clearing half a kilometer from the largest settlement. The landscape was meticulously maintained. Flowering plants in geometric patterns, stone pathways winding through manicured lawns. "It's like a giant park," Alba observed, scanning with her tricorder. "Or an oversized garden," Parker added. "Look there." In the distance, several large canines walked upright on hind legs. They wore clothing that resembled Earth fashions from the late 20th century, adapted for their quadrupedal anatomy. Walking beside them on leashes were humans, wearing nothing but decorative collars. "This confirms the survey team's report," Pavlovic murmured. "Though seeing it is still disconcerting." Dr. Alba continued scanning. "The humans appear healthy, Captain, but readings indicate unusual neurotransmitter levels, elevated serotonin and dopamine. Chemically content," Parker surmised. "The question is whether—" A sharp bark interrupted her. 3 large dogs, 2 golden retrievers and a German shepherd, approached rapidly, carrying what looked like stun batons. "Don't reach for your phasers," Pavlovic whispered. "First contact protocols." The German shepherd stepped forward, sniffing the air with obvious suspicion. To the officer's surprise, it spoke in perfect Federation standard. "Untagged companions," it growled, circling them. "Escaped from where?" Pavlovic stepped forward. "We're not companions. We're visitors from the United Federation of Planets." The dogs exchanged confused glances. "They're speaking," one retriever said, astonishment evident in its tone. "Special breeding program, perhaps," the other suggested. "The Feline Confederacy has been experimenting again." The shepherd approached Pavlovic, examining her uniform. "You wear coverings like masters. This is forbidden for companions." "I am Captain Madeline Pavlovic of the USS Firebird," she said firmly. "These are my officers. We've come in peace to establish contact with your people." The shepherd's ears flattened. "Companions do not establish contact. Companions are owned." He turned to his colleagues. "Take them to the Companion Control Center." Clearly escaped from somewhere important. As they were escorted through the settlement, they observed a society remarkably similar to human civilization, but with dogs, cats, and occasionally other species in all positions of authority. Humans walked on leashes, played in fenced yards, or sat obediently at their master's feet. At the Companion Control Center, a modern building with doors sized for quadrupeds, they were taken to a processing room. A border collie in what appeared to be a medical uniform approached with scanning devices. "No identification chips," she reported. "No registration codes. No breeding certification." She sniffed Alba's uniform. "Unusual scent. Not from any registered breeder." "Because we're not bred companions," Parker insisted. "We're a different species with equal intelligence." The collie laughed, a strange huffing sound. "Companions always think they're clever." She turned to the shepherd. "Quarantine them until we locate their owners." "We came from a starship," Pavlovic tried again. We have technology, a civilization. Enough, the shepherd barked. Take them to holding. In the holding area, they found their answer about the missing survey team. 5 Starfleet officers lounged on cushions, wearing collars and appearing strangely content. Their leader, Lieutenant Commander Hayes, barely acknowledged their arrival. Hayes, Pavlovic asked, incredulously. What happened to you and your team? Hayes stretched lazily. Captain, it's not so bad here. They feed us, pet us, keep us safe. No responsibilities. They've been conditioned, Alba whispered, scanning them with her tricorder. Something in their food or water. Neurotransmitter levels are completely abnormal. Parker frowned. We need to get out of here before the same happens to us. Pavlovic tapped her communicator. Pavlovic to Firebird. Silence. They must be blocking communications. Not necessarily, Parker said thoughtfully. Captain, remember how Captain Kirk and his crew escaped that neural neutralizer on Tantalus 5? By creating a feedback loop in the system. Pavlovic nodded. We could try something similar with their scanners, recalibrate our communicators to emit a pulse that interferes with their technology. Working quickly, they modified their communicators. The resulting pulse caused all automated systems in the facility to momentarily fail. Doors unlocked, monitors went dark, and the ambient lighting flickered. Now's our chance, Pavlovic said. Let's go. What about Hayes and the others? Alba asked. We'll come back for them, Pavlovic promised. But first we need to establish proper contact. They slipped past the confused staff and made their way outside, only to come face to face with a sleek Siamese cat in an elaborate uniform, flanked by 2 larger feline guards. Interesting, the cat purred. You're clearly not ordinary companions. We've been trying to explain that, Parker said. The Siamese's whiskers twitched with amusement. I am Admiral Meow of feline intelligence. We've suspected for some time that companions might have greater potential than the canines believe. We're not evolved pets, Pavlovic insisted. We're a separate species, from beyond your world. From beyond, Meow asked, eyes widening. The stars. Yes, and we'd like to establish proper diplomatic relations, as equals. Meow considered this. Such a concept will be challenging for many. The companion relationship is deeply ingrained in our society. Yet you seem open to the possibility, Parker observed. The feline species has always been more adaptable than our canine counterparts, Meow replied. Revolution in thought takes time, Captain. But perhaps we can begin a conversation. Under my protection, of course. As they followed Admiral Meow toward a waiting transport, Parker leaned toward Pavlovic. So, Maddie, she whispered with a hint of amusement, how exactly do we explain to Starfleet that our new diplomatic initiative is with talking cats? Pavlovic smiled. Very carefully, Becky. Very carefully indeed. She paused. And I can't help thinking that if Kirk were here, he'd probably end up as someone's favorite pet. Parker laughed softly. While Spock would be delivering a logical dissertation on the improbability of evolutionary convergence across species. Some things never change. Pavlovic agreed. Now let's see if we can convince Admiral Meow that humans make better allies than companions.